Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan, and today a highly requested topic for me to cover is the black pill. So I actually found a thread online of people discussing the black pill, and I think there are a lot of really interesting discussions and responses happening within the thread. So I want to kind of go through that with you. And then also a YouTuber called Wheat Waffles is a proclaimed black pill channel that a lot of you guys have asked me to react to. So this video is going to be kind of like a two-part thing where I'm going to look at the thread, and then I'm also going to look at the YouTube video, because to be honest, before looking at this thread, I wasn't quite sure what black pill even is. But after taking a look, it seems like it's basically saying that your attractiveness is the only thing that determines, how well your dating life is. And, if you're not attractive, that you should just give up. And I saw a bunch of morbid, really terrible things when I was researching this. So I wanted to look into it today and give you guys my honest thoughts. So this first thing here is the thread I found, and it says, "I'll be honest, I'm struggling with the black pill ideology. It seems impossible to get a hot girlfriend if you are not hot." Quite fair, of course, but that is what I always dreamed of. Leo saying a pickup artist success rate is always within 0.5 to 3%. Would this really work the same for rich and or good looking guys? I'm feeling like even if I get a hot girl, she will either cheat on me or something, but never really want me. Girls never look at me on the street, while I hear from other taller, better looking guys that they do. I want to take responsibility, but I just want to know the truth about how girls think about me and how they really rate guys. I know black pill people are messed up in the head, but it feels like it's true how they describe the unlovingness and judging of girls. In elementary, I was literally called ugly by girls, specifically ugly, blah, blah. What is the truth? So this is a common thing that I see with black pill, is people get to this point where they feel so hopeless and disappointed and desperate that they cling to excuses. They cling to reasons why things aren't working out for them, right? And they automatically want to blame it on something. When the reality is that, sure, looks are important. They will get you to a certain point, but they are not everything. And before I even read anything else about black pill, that is where I stand on this. It is where I want all of you to understand where I stand on this, is that, of course, if you are more attractive, life will probably be a little bit easier for you, if not a lot easier. Pretty privilege is a real thing, and it's more commonly talked about with women, but it's also incredibly true when it comes to men and men dating around, and especially with social media and dating apps. You're being judged solely off the way you look. So obviously, if you're more attractive or you take exceptionally good photos, you're going to have probably more success than someone who doesn't, because it's only solely based on someone judging you off of the way you look as a first impression. When you're in person, you get to experience someone more. You get to experience their personality and their mannerisms and their humor and the way they interact with you. But when you're just going offline, it makes it much more difficult to see those other things, and you're generally just seeing what someone looks like. So again, obviously, if you're more attractive, conventionally attractive, or you're more attractive to a person, that could change depending on what the person is looking for or what they're into, but it's going to be easier for you. That doesn't mean it's impossible if you're not an 8, 9, or 10, okay? So I just want to get that out there. And this person responded, and I liked their response. It says, "Look, you need to go live your life and gather your own raw experience. Drop all ideology and pills and worldviews from idiots on the internet. Most of them don't spend any time outside. They are stuck in echo chambers and thought loops in their minds. There is no actual truth of things. The world is everything, not one way or another. You can choose what you want to perceive. Either you'll choose what is helpful, or maybe it will hurt you. Either way, take responsibility for it, and don't be eager to delegate it to someone else's agenda. What do you really want? Find out what that is and focus on that. Discard that which is not useful and garner a healthy perspective from your own learning experience, and also a healthy view of yourself." I think really putting in the time, effort, and energy on yourself and developing, your purpose and, your life, the more confident you feel about yourself and your life, the more confident you're going to feel when you're dating. This is one of the struggles of relativity, and while it seems frustrating that you can never quite pin the truth down, that's too bad. That's not a bug, it's a feature. Just keep going and learn to trust yourself more than anything or anyone. "Too many pills. Allow me to pump your stomach, sir," someone said. Sigh. There should be a pinned thread in this section on the forum telling all young men to stop reading incel black pill ideology. I'm pretty sure you're in your late teens or early 20s, bro. Stop consuming all of this. Seriously, you think you're getting a non-mainstream, no BS worldview on how relationships and dating works, but it's just not true. All you're getting is the biggest straw man on how interpersonal relationships work. The problem with ideologies like this is that they create more limiting beliefs on top of your insecurities and doesn't empower you to take action. Yes, and this is why I wanted to share this specific thread, because it's just making up excuses. It's just throwing in the towel, giving up, saying you're ugly. Do you know what I looked like when I was 12 years old? When I was 15? I was not cute. I had huge bushy eyebrows. I was a chunky monkey. I had a unibrow. I wasn't cute, okay? This right here is why I wanted to highlight this specific comment, because of this empower you to take action. If you're following something or, conforming to this ideology that just makes you throw in the towel, give up, become a doormat, never try, never put in work because you think you'll never be good enough, that is exactly what you'll get. You will never be good enough because you're not trying. If you don't even try, you're already failing. You don't even give yourself the chance to succeed. So that's one thing that I just cannot get behind when it comes to all of these like pills and being like crazy into it. Anything in extreme is never a good thing. I think if you're following something that is making you just feel completely hopeless, like there's nothing else you can do, that's not it. There's always something you can be doing to make yourself better, whether that be, learning a new skill, make yourself more attractive. I don't know, go get a haircut. It could be a million different things here depending on what your goals are. But if you're not trying, you're already failing. Taking action is the most important step that so many people don't do because it's not easy. If taking action and becoming the best you could be was easy, everyone would be doing it. The problem is that you are too fixated on hot chicks. That's not what someone in your position needs or wants. What you need is social experience and to be around normal people that embrace your character and quirks. From that position, you can start killing off these limiting beliefs and actually open your eyes to how this stuff works. Yeah, and even going further than that, you need to be confident within yourself before you can even think about being with someone else. If you have this horrible view of yourself, you think you are ugly, you think you are unattractive, you think you are unsuccessful, you think you'll never be anything, why would someone want to be with you? Why would a high value, beautiful woman want to be with a man who has given up, who thinks he's nothing, who thinks he's the scum of the earth? I'm just telling you right now, she wouldn't want that. You have to be someone that those type of people would want to be with. Be what you want to attract. I really don't mean to sound harsh or mean when I say this, but I really just want to get it through to a lot of you because I think so many of you have been stuck in this ideology or just making up excuses for so long that you feel like there's nothing else you can do. So really, guys, come on. The problem with Black Pill isn't so much the content, but the structure of the ideology. It is common sense that if you're very attractive or have lots of money, attracting girls will be relatively easy, but it's baked into such an insecure and low-quality worldview that the message ends up turning into, there's no point of doing anything because the Chads will just take your girl. Yeah, it makes it so where it's like, if you're not already attractive or have money, then you have no chance, which just isn't true. I know so many people who are not 7, 8s, 9s, or 10s, or who don't make a lot of money that are in very successful, happy marriages and relationships. Like, I think you just need to experience being around some normal people who are experiencing life instead of just sitting behind your screen, not interacting with anybody. Any ideology that doesn't inspire you to take ownership of your life or give you inspiration should be dropped, as they're just worthless. Yes, it's so true. Guys, you have the power to do anything you want. You are responsible for your actions, good and bad, and whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. It's all up to you. You have the power to be who you want to be, to look the way you want to look within reason. Like, there's some things you can't change about yourself unless you get plastic surgery or whatever. But I actually just reacted to a video from Hamza, I think it's Hamza, and he talked about this. Like, there are things you can't change about your physical appearance, so fixating on those or like worrying about them isn't even worth your time. Focus on the things you can change instead. And there are things you can change. Your facial hair, your skincare routine, a million other things that are just like small little details and things that you can change about yourself that don't require anything crazy. Go talk to girls. Girls are not looking for looks. They are looking for a man. Yep.
1. Looks are the most important factor for man's dating success. 2. Women care about looks more than men.
So there have actually been many studies that have been done that have actually proven the opposite, that men care more about looks, generally speaking. It just seems like women care more because women tend to have more options than men, again, especially with the rise of online dating and social media.
3. This is mainly because women are much more selective in their mate choice. Their dating strategy can be compared to a single-line fisherman trying to catch the highest quality fish. Meanwhile, 4. Most men take whatever they can get. They're like sea trawlers, throwing a big net into the ocean, picking up whatever. There's a lot of men out there that will pretty much go with anyone, attractive or unattractive. 5. Looks is becoming even more important for guys now because of the explosion of online dating apps. 6. Looks is also becoming more important because women are exposed to more and more options daily. What's the fastest way to narrow down 100 options? Easy. Just get rid of anyone short, ugly, bald, and so on. 7. Any man...
But think about it this way, that is really more of a thing with online dating and social media. If you're meeting people in person, you don't have it's not like a dating app in real life. You don't have 20 guys in front of you where you're like, nope, ugly, yes, no, 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 no. You're not as selective. You're getting to experience someone for more than just their looks, which is another reason it's so important to have more going for you than just your looks, because looks might attract someone initially, but they're not going to keep someone around.
Man an 8 or above in attractiveness will have the red carpet rolled out for him on online dating apps. 8. In contrast, any man between a 5 and 7 in attractiveness will struggle massively on online dating, getting barely any matches and scarcely getting replies to messages.
I would say I have some friends who are 7s and they don't struggle with online dating at all.
9. Any man below a 5 will get 0 matches for life. 10. On online dating apps, 60% of likes go to the top 10% of men. 11. 80% of the matches go to the top 20%. 12. 95% of matches go to the top 50%. Therefore, 13. Just 5% of matches go to the bottom 50% of guys. 14. These statistics also show that looks are mostly objective. There is very little room for opinion or preference.
I don't know about that. I do think that people have different preferences, and I think it's harder to tell when you're doing online dating because, again, you're solely judging someone off of a picture, and anyone can pretend to be anything online. I do think there is such thing as conventionally attractive, mass appealing, attractive people, but I do think there are people who are into people that don't look like that,
15. A man's money now means nothing to women as they can instead either work for themselves or rely on the government to provide resources instead.
Oh, that's not true at all. I would argue that women care more about the money that a guy makes versus what he looks like.
16. Any man that gets in a relationship based on his money has no real attraction from the woman. It is all fake love. 17.
That's true.
His only purpose is just to provide resources for her, whether it be pay for her bills, expensive dates, holidays, and so on. 18.
Yeah, that's a horrible type of relationship to be in, where someone's just using you for your money. That's not a healthy, mature relationship. You're with a gold digger. There's a difference between wanting to be with someone who is financially stable for your future and then someone who's just a gold digger and who only wants you for that.
Any man that gets a relationship mainly because of his money will likely get dumped as soon as he loses his job or investments.
Yes.
19. Relationships based on money will likely end up as dead bedrooms. The man might get intimacy twice a year, on his birthday and on Christmas. 20. Confidence doesn't mean much and only helps if the man in question is already attractive. 21. This is because if an unattractive guy is confident, it is often seen as creepy or arrogant. Besides, 22. Confidence is very correlated with looks anyway. Statistically speaking, shorter, more unattractive and overweight people are more likely to get bullied in school, which, no surprise, is going to have a negative effect on a person's confidence and self-esteem.
Yeah, what's funny is you can either use that as an excuse to stay overweight and ugly forever, or you can use that as motivation to make yourself a better version of yourself. My fiance was overweight in high school and lost 80 pounds. He could have stayed overweight. He could have said, you know what, everyone's bullying me, I'm unattractive, I'm fat, I'm going to be ugly and overweight forever. But he didn't. So.
Meanwhile, 23, attractive people are more likely to be appraised from teachers, parents, which in turn boosts their confidence.
Yeah, pretty privileged.
24, on top of this, generally people tend to adopt a level of confidence based on how they look. 25, for example, how can this short guy look confident to the camera if he's standing next to this man who's way taller than him? 26, how can this man smile with confidence when he has bad teeth? 27, how can this man be confident in his own skin when he has severe facial acne? 28, status also doesn't matter for these reasons. Because 29, similar to confidence, status is also largely determined by looks. For example,
That's not true at all. There are so many successful people who are not attractive.
30, 58% of CEOs are over 6 foot, despite them only making up 15% of the population. Additionally, 31, women tend to only care about status when they have reached settling down age. 32, university-aged girls don't care much about a man's BMW if the man driving it is short, old and balding. 33, women only start caring about your personality after you're above their minimum looks threshold. 34, if you're way above a woman's minimum looks threshold, it gets to the point where you can get away with pretty much anything, and in fact your negative personality traits can be seen as positives. See 35, an attractive man who is shy is perceived as cute. Meanwhile 36, an unattractive man who is shy is seen as antisocial. 37, an attractive man who is awkward is seen as funny or adorable. Meanwhile 38, an unattractive man who is awkward is seen as weird or creepy. 39, when an attractive man makes bad jokes, they will be voluntarily laughed at by women as they want to impress him. Meanwhile 40, when an unattractive man makes good jokes, they will be shunned as they will be seen as perverted or uncalled for. 41, an attractive man who is intelligent is perceived as smart. Meanwhile 42, intelligence on an unattractive man is nerdy or geeky. 43, an attractive man with no friends is seen as a lone wolf. Meanwhile 44, an unattractive man with no friends is seen as a friendless loser. So, that's the first 44 points. 45. Things such as grooming or improving your appearance don't amount to much and are overrated.
Yes, it does. I have literally seen photos before and afters of men who let their hair grow crazy, their facial hair looked bad, and then they got their hair and facial hair trimmed and they looked handsome, completely different people. It does matter. This is hard for me to listen to because it's just excuse after excuse.
This is because 46, clothes and haircuts are not tied to your genetics. You can't pass down an expensive haircut to a child. It is an environmental factor. Therefore, women won't care about it. 47. Additionally, these factors often only work when the man is attractive anyway. Nice clothes look good when worn by attractive men, not the other way round. 48. An unattractive man in the exact same clothes will look terrible. 49. Going to the gym only helps if you are at least average in the face, for which it can dramatically improve your appearance. Meanwhile 50. If you're below average in the face, getting a gym body will unlikely work, as it will be seen.
That guy's fine. There's nothing wrong with him. I don't think he's a 3. Guys, this is so painful. I don't know if I can make it the whole way.
Will be seen as overcompensating. 51. A gym body can look pathetic on a short guy, like he's an aggressive leprechaun.
No, I would argue that if you're short, you should be working out and working with what you've got.
52. Some men who are even above average in the face and height are still genetically limited due to factors such as a poor frame and bad muscle building genetics. 53. If a man has good height who was previously overweight, lowering his body fat percentage in the gym can completely transform his attractiveness. However, 54. This is only the case if the man's underlying facial structure is attractive. If the man is unattractive beneath the fat, he'll barely be in a better place than he was before.
I guess my question is, who is determining what number people are on a scale? Like, who is saying this guy's a 3? Because he doesn't look like a 3 to me. Like, how do you know what someone's number is? Maybe there's a video about that I should watch.
55. The only difference between a friend and a boyfriend is how physically attractive you are. 56. Most mainstream dating advice is simply awful, and it only serves to temporarily make people feel better about themselves. 57. For example, phrases such as just be yourself, just put yourself out there, just be presentable and make people laugh are only surface level and don't infiltrate deeper meanings of attraction.
Well, just be yourself doesn't work if you're lazy and have no motivation and you're overweight and you don't do anything with your life and you are not someone that people would want to be with. In that case, I would not tell you to just be yourself. I would tell you to try to be a better version of yourself because you're not utilizing your full potential at the moment and you have a lot of room for growth.
58. In fact, any dating advice that starts with just do whatever is probably going to be terrible, terrible advice. 59. The number of men excluded from the dating market is increasing year after year, and this is mainly because of rejections based on looks. 60. The attractiveness of your face is determined by your facial bone structure and is almost entirely genetic. 61. The importance of facial features goes eyes first, then jaw, then hair, then mid-face. However, 62, it is better to score averagely in everything rather than having 1 or 2 fantastic features along with 1 outstandingly bad feature. For these 2 guys, the man on the left is more attractive than the man on the right because he has much better consistency, and this is despite having a lower overall score. 63. Surgery may be one of the only potential solutions for men with unattractive features. 64. Height is an attractive trait as it is seen as a display of dominance. 65. The ideal height for men falls between the 6'2 to 6'4 range. However, men who are 6 foot are also in a good spot and don't have anything to worry about.
My fiance is 5'11", just so you all know. And I dated a guy who was 5'5". If you take care of yourself and you work with what you've been given in other ways, like there's nothing you can do to change your height, but you can change how physically fit you are and how well you dress and how well you take care of your beard and your hair. It's not rocket science, and painful.
66. Every inch you have lower than 6 foot is seen as a small blow to your overall attractiveness. This is the danger zone. Meanwhile, 67, heights 5'7" and below are in the no-go zone. Persistent rejections will
Well, you know what? I went in the no-go zone, I guess.
occur solely because of height, and this is true even with an attractive face. 68, on the other side of the spectrum, heights taller than 6'4" are still good but have a few negatives going for them. Namely, it can increase the likelihood of falling into a niche market, also the likelihood of having an elongated horse face or a lanky body and frame will increase. Therefore, the ideal remains at 6'2 to 6'4". That said, those who are 6'5 and above are still better off than the average heighters of 5'9 to 5'11". 70. Balding can destroy a man's chances in the dating market, even if he was successful in the past. 71. Although it is still possible to be attractive if you're bald, the black pill teaches that less than 5% of men can pull off the bald look.
You know what's crazy? I actually have a couple of really close guy friends who lost their hair at a very young age, and that was obviously sad for them, but they look better bald than they did with hair. You know why? Because they're embracing it, they're rocking it, they're confident. My friend Isaac is bald and has no problem getting girls. He'll go take his dog for a walk and have 10 girls approach him. I'm literally not being dramatic. It's all about your attitude.
And those people would usually need to be attractive to begin with anyway. 72. Balding will give the appearance of being 10 years older than your true age.
It can make you look
73.
older.
Men reach their attractiveness.
But that can be a good thing. Sometimes it can make you look more masculine, especially if you're bald and rocking a beard. Love it.
Attractiveness peak between the ages of 20 and 28. 74. Men younger than the age of 20 may not have a fully developed face yet, therefore they're not as attractive. Meanwhile,
Well, I think a lot of men age like fine wine. But
75. Men older than the age of 28 will increasingly face issues caused by aging, such as balding, skin degradation, wrinkling, and so on. 76.
and you don't think it does for women? Women have it way worse when it comes to aging. I think that men age in our society, or are perceived to age in our society, way better than women do. I mean, people comment to me all the time that I look old. I'm 26. I mean, it is what it is. Maybe I do look older than I am.
This process of aging will likely start off slow but accelerate rapidly into a man's mid-30s. 77. Women reach their peak of attractiveness between the ages of 18 to 24. 78. The peak of attractiveness for women is narrower than men's because aging affects women faster, and this is due to women's smaller fertility window. As you can see from the chart on the right,
Okay, I'm glad he brought this up because I was like, is he going to mention that?
men's decline in fertility is much more gradual. 79. The ideal P length is 6 inches or greater. 80. 5 inches is seen as an uphill struggle. Again, this is the danger zone. 81. Anything below 5 puts you in a very difficult situation. 82. Women of all ethnicities have a preference of dating ethnically white men. However, 83. Chads are their own separate class. 84. Women will never tell men the truth about just how important looks are. 85. The main reason for this is to avoid causing upset. 86. Instead, women will tell men personality matters the most in order to keep those guys in the friend zone and or keep receiving attention and validation from them.
I don't tell you guys that looks don't matter at all. I say they don't matter as much as you think they do. There are so many other things that matter so much more than the way that you look. Of course, being, super attractive and having a ton of money is going to help you in life. It's definitely not going to make things harder for you. By any means, the same way pretty privilege makes things easier for women. It doesn't make things harder. I guess it could in some aspects of like people taking you seriously and thinking you only got to where you are because of the way that you look, but generally speaking, it helps you. But it doesn't keep someone around. The same way that looks are great for first impressions, they might get you in the door, but they don't keep you around. They are not everything. I think I reacted to an Alexander Grace video about this actually. So if you haven't seen that, be sure to check it out. But I just think people put far too much importance on looks being the number one thing when they really aren't. And I'm not lying to you when I say that. What benefit would I get out of that? If all my fiance had going for him was his looks, I would not be with him. I just wouldn't. It's just a fact.
87. Women only date up in terms of value. There is no dating down out of sympathy because she feels bad for the guy who can't find anyone else. 88. And if there are no men available for her to date up in value, she would rather share a Chad than have a beta all to herself. 89. The only exception to this is where a woman will deliberately date down with a guy in order to seize control of the relationship. 90. This will often lead to things such as the woman will decide if and when intimacy happens, or 91. The man needs to compensate for his lack of looks by contributing disproportionately more financially towards the relationship. 92. Polygamy is becoming an ever more present reality for the future of the dating market.
That is actually true, I believe. I think it's becoming a more common thing. People saying that high-value men can cheat. I've actually seen a lot of people on TikTok talk about how they're polyamorous, which is something that you wouldn't have probably seen 10 years ago. So I do actually think this is becoming more popular. Not into it. I would never. To each their own. But I do think it's becoming more popular.
93. It is impossible for any woman, irrespective of her attractiveness, to not be able to get intimacy within the very next 24 hours. 94. Dating is like supermarket shopping for women, but like trying to find life in outer space for men.
I do think that women have far more options than men do, especially when it comes to online dating. And a lot of women are only on dating apps for the attention and validation. Like the last point mentioned of having access to intimacy 24/7. I don't think that women struggle near as much or even hardly at all in compared to men when it comes to that.
95. Modern women will spend their teens and 20s rejecting men who don't meet their crazy standards. 96. Then, in their 30s, those same women will plead, "Where are all the good men gone?"
I think we can all say that this is definitely happening. I see this a lot online. I've seen this a lot with the people I've reacted to on TikTok. If you set people to these crazy unrealistic standards and you have an ick because of the way a man scooted into a booth or stood in a photo, you're probably going to end up alone. It's insane.
97. Modern women will friend zone unattractive guys in their 20s who have provider potential, therefore keeping him in orbit. 98. Then, in her 30s, she may try to settle down with the exact same guy so he can provide resources for her.
That is definitely true for some women, I think.
99. The media encourages men to provide resources and simp over women. For example, just look at Valentine's Day. It's all about the man proving himself and buying gifts for the woman. Guys, believe me, I've worked in restaurants over Valentine's, and I'd say 80% of the time, the man has to pay the bill in full. 20% the bill is split, 0% the woman will be the one to pay. Finally, 100. Women see it as an insult if an unattractive man approaches her, as she thinks he is insinuating he is on her level. So that's all 100 of my points of the black pill. Here is a list of all the categories, and I have attached timestamps here so you can re-watch parts of the video if you need to rejig your memory. Anyway, that's the video.
So he's saying all of the irrelevant factors are money, confidence, status, personality, grooming, and the gym. And then the relevant factors are face, height, balding, and age, length, and ethnicity. I don't think this is true at all. And I'm not even going to say anything else because I think I said enough in the beginning, enough for you guys to understand where I stand about all this. I think the black pill is ridiculous, to be totally honest with you. Of course, looks matter to an extent, but they are not everything. And if you are totally giving up on trying at all because someone online told you that if you're not an 8, 9, or 10, you're not going to get a girlfriend, I don't know what to tell you. I think that subscribing to ideology like this is incredibly hurtful and detrimental to your own personal development, and I would encourage you not to do that. No bash to the content creator. I mean, I don't have any vendetta against this person. I just don't agree necessarily with the video. There were some things in there that were true, so I'm not saying that all of this was a lie or crazy inaccurate, but crazy. Alright guys, that is all I have for this video. If you liked this video or found it helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be in the loop for when I release new content. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'd love to get a conversation started in the comment section. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Courtney Christine Ryan. I love connecting with all of you guys over on there as well. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.